Hi, friends. We would like you to subscribe and also press the bell icon so that you'll get the notifications from YouTube. Hi, viewers. Welcome back to Fountainhead Veda. So, continuing on the corporate side, in terms of management, perception, and the attitude for excellence, is one of the objectives we had in our channel. Towards that, we had a travel with Jayendra Pariva, not as a religion, but as a management principle. What are the best qualities for a leader? And we could observe the way of life in terms of the objectives of the channel. So then we had Sri R. Tyagarajan, who had a opposite view, or I would say he was saying that genes are the most important for any behavior, which he was trying to challenge it, saying that it cannot be too much changed, but it can be triggered with the inspiration and the personalities, admirations, and other. I think we had a great feedback from for both the episodes of Jayendra Padiva as well as Sriram Group Tyagarajan. So we thought, why not we get into a multinational personality who had excellent career, who is also, typical in a multinational managing directors are basically most of them are IIT and Indian Institute of Management people. Do they share similar values of leadership styles, or what do they say? So we thought we'll bring in a great personality like Narendra Ambani was a former managing director who had an excellent career with Johnson Johnson for about spanning about 34 years, and he continues after his retirement as a coach for the young ones as well as aspiring managers. So I think without wasting further time, let's go and meet Mr. Ambani and let's all listen to him. And I sincerely hope it's going to create huge impact on the current youngsters. Thank you. So, good morning, Mr. Ambani.
Good
Welcome
morning.
to our Fountainhead Veda channel. It's a great pleasure to have you with us. And I think my brother Vaidish from GSK has given a request to you, and we are really glad that you could join us at a short notice. The
My
second thing
pleasure.
is,
Thank you.
yeah, thank you, sir. So the second point I wanted to make was we recently had interview with Mr. Sri R. Tyagarajan, Group
Hmm.
Chairman of the Shriram Group, a first
Hmm.
generation businessman who built the organization today as the number one non-banking finance company with something like 2 lakh crores on stock on hire, and it's a very big company today.
No, I've heard about this company. Very well reputed.
Yeah. So I used to work with them for as an executive director at the age of 29, 30 with him. So I could bother him for an interview. He's 81 plus. So the first question he answered was very clear. He said everything is in genes. So the genes makes a man good, bad, ugly. So I thought let us start our interview with the genes as the platform because I have seen your profile and background, sir. You have a penchant for human resource development and you have been very humane to people, what I hear, which will be traveling with you to these points very soon. So what is your take on that? Is it that genes makes it or breaks it? What do you think about it, sir?
I think genes do bring a certain quality to the people, but also the circumstances, the exposure to the world, and education. So everything else also has a direct impact on what happens to person's thinking. For example, like my parents came from Pakistan at the time of partition. Okay, so they were kind of very biased, let's say, biased against a community, Muslim community, because they were very badly hurt in the process of partition, right?
Right.
So during my childhood, there was a bias in my mind also because the bias my parents had, right?
Right.
But then over a period of time, when I went to Indonesia and I was working in Indonesia as managing director for Johnson Johnson, I questioned this bias because I met so many, uh, because Indonesia is 90% Muslim or 95% Muslim. So I met so many friends and they were perfectly normal human beings, right? And some of them became very close friends also. So I kind of realized that why is it in my mind, this bias? And I realized this bias has been transferred from my parents to me. So there was no reason to be biased against a community. And they are as human, they love as much Hindi music, they love cricket as much as I do. So the thing is that I think genes is also some kind of a inbuilt bias in you, right? Or certain behaviors, certain beliefs may have been caused. But I personally believe that these can change over a period of time depending on your exposure to different things in the world and your thought process. Because I think people can control their thought processes. Because I believe that, like emotions, for example, like emotions may be triggered from different things, right? But then you can question that why is it getting triggered? Like, for example, hatred is a emotion. Now hatred was being triggered every time I saw somebody who is not Hindu and he's actually from Muslim, and especially if he's from Pakistan, right? So all these were emotions being generated based on the trigger of somebody being from a particular community and particular geographic area, right? Now, but this was my bias, let's say. It's a pre-built bias, right?
Okay.
But it changed completely. It changed completely. I mean, today I don't think I have any hatred whatsoever for any Muslim or any Pakistani for that matter. And I have friends who are Pakistani, and I feel very sorry that they can't visit me because they don't get the visa. So I think it's a so I do think that it's like a starting point. You have some starting point when you are born, but to say that that starting point will remain constant through the life is what I don't accept.
So in this, you are talking of a very nice psychiatry or psychology point, perception versus reality. What you perceive is what is totally different from the reality. That's what you are talking about, perception and reality. What you perceived as a bias towards the Muslims or something like that, when you really travel in, then you find the reality is totally different, and that's the perception. But what I think Mr. Tyagarajan was saying, even to find this difference as a reality, the gene quality will be there, a querying quality is there from the genes itself. So I don't want to get into too much of argument on the
Maybe
gene.
you're right. Maybe well, I think we are born with certain intelligence, obviously,
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
So that's how there are geniuses who at age of 6 are doing very high degrees because they're only 6-year-old, right? Or like you find Tiger Wood winning some tournament at the age of 5 or something like that. So those are inborn skills which came with you as a blessing from the God.
yeah.
Understood that. That's fine.
Okay.
But how do you employ those skills
Yeah,
is really
that's what you're saying.
more important.
Yeah.
And
So, yeah, sir, what I wanted to actually say, when I discussed with you, you
yeah,
said let's our chat begin as allowing the or let the balloons fly. I
yes,
think you you told me that. It is very
yes.
interesting. So can you explain to me why you chose this the caption? What motivated you to choose
No,
this
because I do believe that as a manager or as a leader, you have a choice. And this is a very good description of the choice you have. So
caption?
you can be a star sitting on the top of a Christmas tree. That means everything under is under you, right?
Okay.
But like a Christmas tree, right? So you're just sitting there and your tree is below you, right?
Right.
That means your organization is reporting to you and you're sitting on top of the organization, right?
Right.
That's in one imagination of a leadership, right?
Right.
Another imagination of leadership is that you got all your employees, all your people, they're all flying in the air, and you're only holding the balloon from below. You're allowing them to fly on their own, right? They are enjoying the air, they are flying around and they're doing things. And yeah, you're just observing them and holding the cord from below. So you have the final responsibility as a leader, but at the same time, you're allowing your people to fly, to decide, to do what they want to do. but you ultimately are holding the string as the final responsibility for them, for the final outcome. So when I heard this description quite some time back, this was described by Mr. Jim Berg, who was the chairman of Johnson Johnson Worldwide.
Ah,
And in one of the interviews, somebody was interviewing about how do you decide who is the talent in the company and what do you look for. So one of the things he was talking about is, as a leader, what is this person doing? Is he sitting like a Christmas tree, or is he allowing balloons to fly? So I really love that description. Of course, he said some more things which are still in my mind, very interesting. He says, I look for people who have modicum of intelligence. They need not be geniuses. They should
okay.
have modicum of intelligence, and but they should have uh, a quest for learning. So it should be like constant search for learning. So these guys are the guys I will prefer to become the leaders in Johnson Johnson. So it's a couple of thoughts he gave as a CEO. I kind of remember for my lifetime that it was fantastic thought, and I've tried to implement some of those thoughts, and I found that is very successful way to manage your organization.
All right. So let me probably start with your past life,
Yes.
from maybe from school and college days of yours. And did you ever imagine, or did you plan something like you will grow to this position, or it came naturally to you? You went through the process through education, or you planned it like that, or it happened?
Yeah, well, I think you raised a very interesting question. And only the other day, I was sharing my life story with a group of Johnson Johnson employees. We have a alumni kind of a group. So I was sharing this story because I was telling them that in life, I have always surprised myself. I
Okay.
always surprise myself. And that is one of the reasons why I'm a happy person, because my expectations have always been exceeded. So, for
Right.
example, like in the school, I was never a topper. I was a good storyteller and things like that, but I was never a topper in the school days. And then when I finished college and I was looking what next to do, it was my father who applied for IIT for me. So so then I was not interested. I mean, I was not sure that I can ever get into IIT, because I had very much more smarter cousin of mine, and who
Okay.
had not got into IIT
Right.
just the previous year. So I said, if he didn't get in, then I may also not get in. So I was actually relaxing on the holiday period, and I had gone to visit my mama in Calcutta to
Okay.
enjoy life. And then my father sent me a telegram that IIT exam is next week, so you please come back. And that's how I came back home. And then since I was just taking it easy, and I appeared for the exam, and I was shocked when I was selected in the first place. So it's interesting that so I still think, because IIT selection is not, in those days at least, not based on knowing all the answers. It was more quantitative testing, your intelligence testing, and all kind of other things. You just have to select correct answer in a multiple choice. So it was different kind of a test. You really can't prepare for it. Like, anyway, nevertheless, so I got into IIT. Now in IIT also, to be honest, I was not the topper. I was decent grade, like maybe about you know uh, say on a scale, I would probably be like 70% scale,
Okay.
kind of thing. And so the thing is that then when it came getting out of IIT, again I was not sure what I'm going to do. So it's not like you plan your life. you
Yeah.
know I think, and that is what I was sharing with people, that you should accept what comes with grace. And I think do whatever you can do in the process, right?
Right.
So just keep making your choices, right? So I
Right.
had a choice. Most of the IIT Kanpur guys used to go abroad. It was common. Everyone used to celebrate. You got admission in another university in US, and every other day people will be celebrating and signing. And then in the meantime, there's some IIM guy, IMA, Ahmedabad. It was not so famous in those days. I guess it's still a new institution, maybe 5 years into existence. So they came to IIT and made a presentation about what they are offering, and they gave us the forms to fill, and I said, let's fill it. And that's how I got into IIM Ahmedabad. So it was just purely by chance that somebody came to the institute in IIT Kanpur and told the students that this is what we are doing in Ahmedabad, and if you guys want to apply, here is the test, application paper. So we apply. So what I'm saying is that some people say that I have planned the whole life. I think, well, good luck to them, because I just, my life has been go along, just go along, and and have faith in God, and have faith, and just go along. So whatever comes is a blessing, and just go on. So like in even Ahmedabad, I applied for Calcutta also then. So I got selected in Calcutta, but not selected in Ahmedabad. And Calcutta was rated as second. Ahmedabad was rated as the first. So I said, okay, fine. So I will rather go to US, and I have an admission in US. So I'll pursue that admission. So then I was almost ready to go to US. I mean, I got some loan, etc. My father was not rich, so we applied for a loan, etc. We got, so things are working out. And then I get a telegram one day, that there is an opening for you. So wait list has come through. So you are on the wait list, and if you want to come, you join. So I joined Ahmedabad about 8 to 10 days after the classes had started, right? So, so I don't think success depends on being a topper. Success doesn't depend on being the front runner. That's one of my personal opinion. So I joined Ahmedabad, and then I got into L&T, and after passing out from Ahmedabad. Now, one very interesting story which I always share as a management development story. I've shared it a lot with my people in Johnson Johnson also. Because Johnson Johnson had a very strong program for management development. And one of the beliefs is that management or leadership cannot be taught. And the belief is that you are born as a leader, you have in your genes as a leader, etc., etc. So I used to share this story, and this is a very interesting story, because during the summer break from IIM Ahmedabad, I had to work in a company. So I was working for Larsen and Toubro as a company, and they told me that you go into the sales department. So I went into the sales department, and I was doing a project for them. So I did the project in 2 months or whatever. And then on the last day of the project, I met the All India sales manager, Mr. Kazi. I still remember his name. So I met Mr. Kazi, and I said, please give me your feedback. So he said, look, I'm very honest, very straightforward. I said, tell me, I'll want to see how you see it. He says, you can never be a good leader. So I said, okay. Yeah. He says, you have zero initiative, and I don't think you should vie to become a leader. So anyways, I said, thank you. I just walked out of the room quite disappointed, right? Now, several years later, interestingly, Johnson Johnson India, we used to give a recognition to the topper from MBBS program in Bombay University. That was a way of PR, as well as a way of giving something recognition to the society. So we used to find out who the topper of the MBBS program is, invite him with his family to Johnson Johnson, give him honor and give him some kind of a scholarship, for traveling scholarship or some such thing. So one of those years, the person who was getting the reward was Mr. Kazi's son. So therefore, then I said, where's your dad? So he said, oh, he's out of town or whatever. So next day I rang up Mr. Kazi, and I told him that I met your son, and we were giving him the reward for topping the MBBS program. And by the way, I still remember what you had told me long back, that I can never be a leader. So he just laughed at it. So I think the idea of this example is only to substantiate what I have maintained, that you are born with certain skills and you are born with certain beliefs, but all of it can be changed if you prepare to think and change it. Because your thought process can be under your control. What is not under your control is what are the what they call trishnas or whatever they call it you're born with, right? So, but I think the thoughts can override.
Yeah. I remember one maxim, sir. I don't know whether you would have heard it. According to aeronautical experts, a bumblebee cannot fly. Are you aware of that?
Yeah, because she's so fat.
It's so fat. But
Yeah.
fortunately, no one told him so, I believe. Hence, it flew.
Yes, I heard about this. Because the bumblebee by weight to wing ratio should not be allowed to fly.
But it flies. So fortunately, no one told him so. That exactly reminds me that somebody has told you that you cannot fly, but you flew because you didn't take that comment at all into your mind.
Yeah, I mean, I just wanted to point out to him that, sir, I believe in management development, and I do think that I have developed enough to be appointed as managing director, and therefore honor your son. Nothing, no disrespect.
I know,
And
I understood.
I also honestly believe that what he gave me feedback was correct.
I see. Okay.
So it was not that it was inappropriate.
Right.
So it is just that he was right.
Yeah.
And I accepted that as a reality of that time.
All
But
right.
that does not mean that that reality did not change. The reality changed over a period of time.
Right.
So I was regarded as one of the good leaders in Johnson Johnson. And
I know,
I
sir.
worked there for like 30 years.
Yeah, I know. I have gone through your profile.
Yes.
Sir, here, what I'm trying to say is why I brought this the bumblebee, because you didn't take it very personally then that you're not fit. And you would have gone into sulking mode and you would have felt bad, but you grew out of that. That's where we are going to come on the other points.
I think mentally, I never even thought about going into business. Okay, you may not have big money, but at least you are well respected in the society and you are playing an important role in life. So I think maybe I never really thought about going into business.
I see. Great.
But you are absolutely right, because a lot of Sindhis after displacement were not qualified. So they came to say Ulhasnagar camp and things like that. You know, most of the Sindhis went to Ulhasnagar, yeah, in Bombay, and there was a camp in Kalyan. So these guys were displaced. They didn't have any real skills with them.
Hi friends, we would like you to subscribe and also press the bell icon so that you'll get the notifications from YouTube.